So I recently had the opportunity to catch up and meet with some of the volunteers that I met there in Europe. I had the chance to sit down with them and ask them some questions about their plans for going again to Ukraine to help. So I wanted to show you that recent interview. I'm here with some of my friends that I met previously in Europe, and I want to introduce them to you. Actually, I'll let them introduce themselves.
All right, Mindie, you go first.
Okay. I'm Mindie Packer. This is my husband, Win. We have been going to Ukraine and Poland to help with the Ukrainian refugees since the full-scale invasion started in February of 2022.
And our first trip was in summer of 2022, and that's where we met Fred, was at some of the different refugee centers in Poland. What drove us to go there, I went on a LDS church mission to Russia in the 90s, so I speak Russian, so that I was in southern Russia, and so I met lots of Ukrainians, and that area was near and dear to me. So when the full-scale invasion started, I would watch the news every night and just feel awful that this was going on. And I would watch, and Mindie would watch and say, we need to do something to help. And I'd say, I don't know what to do to help. And she said, let's just buy a ticket to Poland and we'll find a way. And that's when we met people like Fred and some of these other people we've been meeting with. Most of the people who are displaced are being displaced from eastern Ukraine and speak Russian. And so my language has helped us to communicate. And then since then, do you want to say how many times we've been over?
July of 2022, we've been over 7 times.
And usually we're there for about 2 weeks. That's about all I can take off of work. So that's our history. That's our brief
And you're
background.
planning on going again later this year, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so we're going to go again later this year, probably early fall or going into fall. What the things that we are trying to help with is warm clothes going into winter, specifically for kids who've outgrown their winter clothes from last year. There's also a lot of kids going back to school, and so we look for ways that we can help with school supplies, backpacks, notebooks, things like that. And then we started by going to Poland and focusing on refugee centers where people had left Ukraine. Now we're trying to help people who are internally displaced, so people who've gone from eastern Ukraine to western Ukraine, or people who are in cities or villages that stayed, but their lives have been disrupted. And so that's a lot of the people. There's economic hardships for people who've stayed because war does that. And so that's where kind of our focus is both the internally displaced within Ukraine and those who've stayed in their cities and villages and whose lives have been upended by this war.
So you also founded your own nonprofit to help. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. You want to go?
So after we had gone over a few times, we decided to start a nonprofit, which we did in the summer of 2023. And it's called Hope Across Borders. If you're looking for it, it's actually Hope X Borders, like
.org.
.org as the website, or our social medias are just Hope X Borders.
When we first registered the name as a corporation, the full name was available as a website. But by the time we got the approval, it wasn't. So that's why it's hopexborders.com.
Yes.
.org, not .com, hopexborders.org. The good thing about doing a nonprofit is it allows donations to be tax deductible. So we are a 501c3, so any donations can be tax deductible. It is a small grassroots organization. So Mindie and I are the founders of it. Our son's a member of it, and outside of that, it's volunteers that we meet up with. We went on one trip with Fred and his daughter. We've got other friends. We've got a friend from Idaho and a friend from Michigan who are going with us next time. We've got some friends in our neighborhood here in Utah who are going with us. But we are a small grassroots organization. There's some people who help with big things like housing or major medical or hospitals or things like that. We are much smaller. We don't do any help with military. We don't do any help with building or construction or things like that. were very small scale, short term needs. So clothing, diapers, socks and underwear mostly, warm winter clothing, diapers, food, groceries. Some things like in some of these refugee centers, they have maybe some basic sustenance, beans and rice and whatever else, and we'll try and bring vegetables or fruit or things that are maybe not as readily available. Solar lanterns, one of the people that we're going with really has been working with a couple of different companies who make those solar-powered lanterns, and she's helped bring a bunch of those, and so we've started helping with that. With the attacks on the power grid in the winter, there's a lot of people who go without light for long periods of time. It's these little solar-powered lanterns that they can charge them all day and then have light all night to do homework and read and even just to communicate has been really valuable. And usually what we do, we've made some contacts through some airlines, specifically Delta. I don't know if Delta wants me to say that, who's helped us to bring over suitcases of humanitarian aid. And so we collect the socks and underwear and solar lanterns and things that pack really easy here. We take those over in suitcases and distribute, and then we start going to stores to buy resupplies. We buy things that are heavier, like the vegetables and fruits and things that are there.
I remember one trip that we all went on together, and one of the refugee centers that we visited in Western Ukraine, and there you might remember they were living in a gymnasium,
yes.
And you were saying some of the stuff that you were delivering, and a lot of the stuff was hygiene.
Correct.
Yes. I forgot to mention the hygiene products because those are heavy, and so we've also been shipping boxes of hygiene products through Beast, and when we try and do it that way, and then we'll take some suitcases and then we'll buy things there. But if you imagine living in a group of 30 to 150 people in a place that it's not meant to support that many people, only a couple of bathrooms, maybe one or two showers, hygiene products become a very important part of quality of life, right? If it's soap or hand sanitizer for cleanliness, that's a health issue. Maybe toothbrushes is a health issue. But things like shampoo and deodorant and just kind of some of those quality of life issues are amplified when you have that many people living that close together. So that's another thing that we've been trying to bring.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to close with giving you a test. I remember we were in an abandoned hospital that was converted into a refugee center there. And I remember teaching you a phrase then the response to it. And the phrase is, Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
Go to hopexborders.org now to donate a dollar amount, or you can click on Delivering Supplies and view their Amazon wish list to order items to be sent to displaced persons in Ukraine.